Hey folks, Will Saletan here from the Bulwark. Today, I want to talk to you about the hardest job in the world, coaching Donald Trump to act like a normal human being. As you all know, Trump is running for president, so he needs to persuade a lot of voters beyond his hardcore supporters that he's a good person, or at least that he has some sense of decency. That is a real challenge because when Trump goes off script, when he expresses what's in his heart instead of what's written for him on a teleprompter, he tends to reveal the sort of person he really is, which is spiteful, malicious, and mean. Here's an example of how Trump acts when he's expressing his true self. This is from a rally in Asheboro, North Carolina on August 21st. Remember, that's a full month after Joe Biden withdrew from the presidential race. But Trump decided to go after him anyway.
Where's Biden? What happened to Biden? Where is he? He's on a beach. He's on a beach. You know, he's got somebody that thinks he looks great in a bathing suit. He likes to go to a beach. How do you leave here and go on a beach? You can't do it. There are things you just don't do. People don't want to see you in a bathing suit. Walks badly. It's hard to walk in the sand, you know. He has a hard time lifting his feet through the sand. And then he grabs the chair. The chair is meant for old people to lift and young kids to lift, like, 4-year-old kids, right? And he can't lift it. He needs a little help.
That's Trump. He's not interested in doing anything to help ordinary people. He's not even interested in Biden's policies. What he wants to talk about is how Biden looks in a bathing suit. So that's the challenge. Take this deeply unpleasant person, Donald Trump, and somehow persuade him to stop being a jerk and start being nice. A lot of Republican politicians and Republican advisors want Trump to make that shift. And many of them have said so to reporters. The reporters then convey that message to Trump. But Trump is not interested. Listen to this from a press conference Trump gave on August 15th at his golf club in New Jersey. A reporter is shouting a question at the former president.
Many of your allies who want you to win in November say your current strategy isn't working, that you need to stop with the personal attacks on Kamala Harris and deliver a more disciplined message. Do you agree?
And here's how Trump responded.
As far as the personal attacks, I'm very angry at her because of what she's done to the country. I'm very angry at her that she'd weaponized the justice system against me and other people. Very angry at her. I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence.
You gotta give Trump credit. He's not hiding who he is. All these Republican politicians are begging him to pretend that he's emotionally mature and that he cares about serving the country. But Trump's response is, nope, I'm in this for my own revenge, and I'm fully entitled to focus on personally insulting my enemies. Now, some Republican politicians have the temerity to suggest out loud, sometimes even on TV, that Trump might want to consider changing his ways. One of those politicians is Trump's former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, who ran against him in this year's primaries. Here's what happened at Trump's press conference in New Jersey when a reporter asked Trump about Haley's latest advice.
Nikki Haley told our Brett Baer that Republicans need to stop whining about Kamala Harris, focus on courting those independents, those suburban women, the moderates out there. What do you think of that strategy?
And here's what Trump said in response to that question.
I fought Nikki very hard. I beat her in her own state by legendary numbers.
That's how Trump reacts to advice he doesn't like. Haley has actually endorsed Trump for president. The primaries are over, and she's on his side. She wants him to unite the Republican Party against Harris. But Trump can't let go of the joy he feels at having crushed Haley. He insists on gloating publicly that he beat her in his own state by legendary numbers. In fact, according to the reporter, Haley didn't even name Trump as the target of her advice. Haley was asking Republicans to focus on appealing to moderates and suburban women. But Trump decided to take Haley's advice as a personal attack on him, because that's the kind of guy he is. Let's skip forward a couple of days from that press conference. On August 17th, Trump held a rally in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Again, he went after Harris with insults, but this time he added a key word: sir. Watch this.
We're not going to let this socialist lunatic, and she's a socialist lunatic, that's the other thing. Please, sir, please don't call her a lunatic. I said, but that's what she is. She's a lunatic. She's a lunatic.
Did you catch that? Please, sir, don't call her a lunatic. That's Trump mocking his advisors and political allies like Haley for asking him to lay off the insults. He's not listening to their advice. He's incorporating it into his rallies as an additional target of his mockery. He's still ridiculing Harris and Biden, but now he's also ridiculing anyone who asks him to stop ridiculing people. 2 days after that rally, on August 19th, Trump gave an interview to Caitlin Huey Burns, a reporter for CBS News. Here's what he said when she asked him about advice from Lindsey Graham, Trump's most devoted ally in the Senate, to focus more on policy and less on insults.
Lindsey Graham said that Trump, the showman, will not win this election.
Look, I like Lindsey. I don't care what he says, okay? Lindsey wouldn't have been elected if I didn't endorse him.
Graham gets the same treatment Haley got. All Graham did was politely suggest that Trump could help himself by being just a little bit less arrogant and hostile. And Trump's response to Graham is, "You're nothing without me. Piss off." Then came the Democratic convention. That really annoyed Trump, and he decided to double down on the insults. Here's Trump at that rally in North Carolina on August 21st, talking about some of the speeches at the convention.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
You see what's going on there? Trump's advisors have asked him to focus on policy, and instead of taking their advice, Trump is reporting that advice to the only people he really cares about, the people at his rallies. He's asking the crowd whether he should follow the advice. And of course, the crowd says no. They love the personal attacks. And so does Trump. So he keeps going. Here's another clip from that rally about 3 minutes later.
This calamity is on Comrade Kamala Harris's shoulders. I think her name will be Comrade because I think that's the most accurate name. You know, I've been looking for a name. People are saying, sir, don't do it. You know all my names. They've all worked. They've all been very successful. And I really didn't find one with her. Sir, she's a woman. I said, so is Hillary Clinton. I called her Crooked Hillary. So nobody complained about that, right? Right? Mr. Governor, nobody complained about that. No, I called her Crooked Hillary. I call people names. I call crazy Nancy Pelosi crazy because she is. She's nuts.
By this point, Trump is going after everybody. Harris, Biden, Obama, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and none of it is about policy or helping the country. Trump is literally talking about how he loves to come up with insults, and he's openly mocking people who ask him to lay off the misogyny. Sir, she's a woman.
Sir, she's a woman.
He loves the misogyny. But to be fair, Trump doesn't just target women. He loves to attack people of all genders, races, and religions, as long as they don't belong to his favorite religion, which, of course, is worshiping Donald Trump. Here he is at the same North Carolina rally, responding to Barack Obama's speech at the Democratic convention.
It could have been Barack Hussein Obama, perhaps. We should ask him. Now, he was very nasty last night. I try and be nice to people, you know, but it's a little tough when they get personal. Please, again, remember, please, sir, don't get personal. Talk about policy. Let me ask you about that. We're going to do a free poll. Here are the two questions. Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? Ready? Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? I don't know. My advisors are fired.
There you go. The people have decided. Trump's advisors want him to talk about policy, but the MAGA heads at his rally don't. So he's going to listen to the MAGA heads, not the advisors. In fact, the advisors are now part of the shtick Trump does at his rallies. Listen to this excerpt from Trump's rally in Glendale, Arizona on August 23rd. The video is a little wonky, but you'll be able to hear the gist of what Trump is saying.
No, they really were nasty. And then they say to me, sir, please stick to policy. Don't stick to personality. You should be nice to people, sir. You have to be nice. I call them up. My geniuses, they get paid a fortune. Actually, not that much. But I call up my people. I say, they're knocking the hell out of me, and you say I shouldn't get personal. I have to get personal, don't I? I have to get personal. I have to get personal.
Did you hear that dig about geniuses? That's Trump deriding his advisors. He doesn't mean they're geniuses, of course. He means they're idiots. And in particular, he means they're idiots for asking him to stop getting personal. The real genius is Trump, who's making it clear to everyone, as loudly as possible, that he's not the decent human being his advisors want him to pretend to be. In fact, Trump's behavior is actually getting worse. The more he falls behind in the polls, the lower he goes. Watch this clip from a rally he did in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, just a week ago on August 30th.
And you look at what she's done to every place she's touched has turned to shit. Every single place she's touched. I have to say it. Every place she's touched, you know, you might have heard this. Franklin Graham is wonderful. And he wrote me a letter and he said, sir, I love your stories and I love listening to your rallies, but could you please don't use foul language? Your speeches would be even better if you didn't use foul language. But there's an example. It's not really that bad a word, but how can you top that word for what I'm talking about, right? What word?
Look, it should be obvious by now that Trump is just a terrible person. He's not into helping anyone. He's just into mocking and humiliating people. Even most Republican politicians know this, but they tell themselves, and often they tell reporters, that Trump's defects as a human being don't really matter. They argue that his obsession with insulting people and bragging about how great he is just a bunch of mean tweets. But they're wrong. It's a lot more serious than that, and I want to show you one example. It's from a town hall Trump did last week in La Crosse, Wisconsin. He's talking about the 2020 election, which he still claims was rigged and stolen from him.
We had a bad election. I'll be very nice. I'm supposed to be nice when I talk about the election because everybody's afraid to talk about, oh, please, sir, don't talk about the election, please. You know, if you can't talk about a bad election, you really don't have a democracy if you think about it, right?
That is not just a petty personal insult. That is an attack on the legitimacy of the 2020 election and the legitimacy of American democracy itself. When Trump says that he has been asked to be nice about that election, please, sir, don't talk about the election, and when he openly scorns that advice and says that the truth is we don't really have a democracy, he is telling you bluntly that he will never accept that he lost an election. He is telling you that all these Republicans who pretend that Trump has gotten over it and that we can trust him to respect basic norms if we reelect him are full of you know what. He's telling you that he cannot be coached, reformed, or civilized. He's a hater and a predator, and he's out for revenge. He is what he is. Take it or leave it. See you next time.